Hello everyone and welcome to yet another live coding NCL. I'm your host Johnny and today I'm proud to be part of the Supabase Content Storm. Yet another one of those. We've done one in the past and if you know me, if you've been following along, this is the 8th episode where we're trying to create a SvelteKit app that is providing functionality that you see in a Patreon page. So instead of having the middle company of Patreon taking a cut of your memberships, why not do it directly? We've been building this johnnyfy.com app and inspiring you to create your own. We'll be able to take memberships here, but I was thinking that it'd be cool to have a USP, a unique selling point of why you should go to this website or to any creator's website. And when Supabase came out with like a slew of new features that are going to be highlighted in this content storm, I was inspired. They're doing quite a lot with generative AI, as is the trend. You need to power your apps with AI or you're gonna stay behind. And something Patreon doesn't do is allow you to easily search a creator's content and find what they've done. You can search, and then if it's in the title of the post or if it's in the body of the post, then you will get a result and you can find in what's happening. But what if you had a chatbot? What if you could talk and say, where does Johnny talk about Tailwind? When's the first time that Johnny sets up Tailwind for Johnnyfy or any other app? When did Johnny do dark mode? And then the AI, the generative Q&A, is going to be able to tell you, it's actually probably in this episode and give you a timestamp. That's the thing that I was inspired to do for today. Let's see if we can get it done. The basic inspiration, where they have examples and guides for, is what you can find in the Supabase website as well. So if you bring in the command palette with Command K, then you can ask the Supabase AI and say, how do I set up auth with the SvelteKit? And then instead of just finding the results, you should be able to get the AI to answer you in a human readable form. So of course, having good search on any blog style or vlog style, any content website is really, really good. But this is something new that has started exploding in this year, actually, with the advancements that OpenAI specifically has made with LLMs. And this, I'd love to have that in my website, because I have a lot of videos at this point, too many to keep track of. So if I could ask something that knows my videos inside and out to tell me when's the timestamp, when did I actually do this, and answer, well, then we've got a really big feature to get people into the Johnnyfy website. I think if we pull this off, then Patreon may be trying to play catch up and try to implement this feature as well. I can see this in the future for sure. But the reason this is possible is because I do actually have the transcripts of most of my episodes actually. So as preparation for this, I did paste in some of the transcripts of my videos. I did 5 of them. The latest one is doing well with Google Fonts, but I've added one from last year as well, where we're doing TDD with SvelteKit and VTest. Now, in this project, we're using band tests actually. But as always with my videos, I do try to showcase things that are going to be good advice, like best practices in the future, even if things change, even if you're using test or you're using band test or whatever else. I have tried to put in examples that I have been using to TDD projects for years, even before VTest and Jest and Mocha Chai and Sinon, even if you can go that far back. Anyway, this isn't about the old videos, it's about the new live stream we're doing today. So we have a big agenda to go through. We are talking about why we're doing this. Maybe I can go into my Patreons and shout out the people that I am subscribed to. So for example, Dylan Bates, I use Final Cut to edit my videos, and Dylan is putting in so much work, creating so many tutorials about so many cool effects. And sometimes I haven't added it to my videos, and then I want to search like shaky text. And this isn't what exactly I want. Maybe the moving text one is good enough. So there is functional search, like everything that has text in it is a search result. But I would love if a chatbot would come back to me and tell me, oh, you probably mean this video exactly, and on 2-minute 32 seconds timestamp, that's when Dylan actually shows how to do this effect. Let's see if we can do it for my videos. And that's the idea of today. Hope you find this a cool project. Supabase does have a guide and an example of how to do this. It is possible with one of the features highlighted in this Content Storm today. I'm excited to see what other creators are going to be doing as well. But this is specifically about documentation. I guess it has a couple things that I'm kind of afraid of when I'm looking into things for the first time. I haven't looked into this before. We have built an OpenAI powered app with Hello There Cat. You may find this episode from our past archives as well. It's a cool episode to make you get your hands dirty with OpenAI, where people get a random greeting based on me. So the theory is, if you go to this website and put in your name, then you should get a greeting as if I were to see you down the street, if I knew you. So it will have puns for sure. It may mention coding and volleyball and that sort of thing. And all of this is powered by OpenAI, and you can find out how to do it yourself if you follow the video of doing OpenAI and ChatGPT with SvelteKit. But that's not the end of OpenAI. And the most powerful way to use OpenAI is through other tools. And that's what Supabase have been starting to do. So they have the headless search toolkit. And the thing with this example and guide is they do offer a starting point in this repository. And they tell you, check the repository out, run these methods, and then things will magically work. So the thing I'm scared of today is how we will adapt it to my project specifically, because my project is not going to be a documentation project, a dedicated documentation project. It is going to be based on the transcripts of the videos that I have. So that's a bit of a difference already. Also, it is going to be a SvelteKit project. So I would love, let's switch to the desktop view. I would love to store my transcripts in a specific folder inside source lib. So if I want to render them with markdown, then I would be able to more easily access them. So if I want my Johnify website to render these, they should be in the source folder, because that's where SvelteKit looks for documents. In the demo, it looks like they put all the documents in a docs folder in the root of the repo, and also they call them docs, not transcripts. I am willing to give away the name for the convention, but I want to try doing things a bit differently. So will we be able to adapt this example to what we want? In the end, we should have something kind of like the Supabase AI. Is that going to be the end of today? Will we be doing another live stream on this? I'm not sure. Hopefully we are going to do well though. Hopefully we're going to nail it. So let's see. The first step, what we have in the agenda here, is to talk about this, talk about the headless vector search. Then we'll need to do the database prep. So we have a Supabase instance running for our project. I'm not running it locally. We're going to do this live in the Johnify Supabase instance and see how that goes. But we'll need to add a few tables. So we'll need to push a few schemas. And let's see if that's gonna work. Again, on the provided project, they do have a Supabase folder, and they do have some migrations. Well, one migration seems for us to add. And the first part is, let's understand how this works, because if you check out this project and you just push the migration to your project, it is gonna make something work, but I do like understanding things and not blindly following instructions. So let's indeed copy this. And maybe in our editor, the root of our project, we can connect Supabase migration new is probably what the CLI command is called. Maybe it's like migrate new. Should have opened this. Create tables. For generative QA. And that indeed creates a new empty migration for me. Great. This one. And here I'm gonna paste the migration that Supabase wants me to add. So if there is a doc schema, do not do this, but if not, then create this. I imagine this is what it's doing. It's adding the vector, that's the search algorithms functionality that we're gonna add. Create this table. Create a page there, sure. I don't think I would want to change this. Even if the table is called docs, I don't think I would change this to transcripts. I wouldn't think that docs has like a magic meaning. So sometimes words and variable names have a magic meaning. We know that with SvelteKit. A classic example would be that in our roots, we can have a plus page.svelte or plus page.server.ts or a plus server.ts, that sort of thing, plus layout. Those are magic names. If you use those names, something magic happens. I think you can name this anything. You can name this transcripts or something. So if we had like actual documentation, but also had transcripts, as we do now, but also had like blog posts or something, maybe we'd want them in different tables, but to me, I would just say everything I ever do on this site, let's put them in this docs table. Interesting. It does have like a slug and a heading and all of those things. So maybe not. In the future, we will have a GitHub action that inserts things to this table. And I'm wondering if the GitHub action is gonna be looking into our markdown and extracting like from matter or something. There is no GitHub action here. Let's check what this do. Yeah, the OpenAI key, it finds it. The root path of the docs is here, but what's an example of a markdown file? I guess it has like a big heading, but it doesn't have front matter. So I'm curious whether it's gonna try to make this the heading, whether it's gonna try to make this be the slug, which would be fine in our case, and everything else is the content. I guess my question is, should our markdown files have a specific format? We'll find out in the future. The format that I have followed is having a front matter here that includes the title, and only after all of that we have the actual transcript of the episode. And the slug, I guess, can be whatever this is. That would be fine, the name of the markdown file. But I am wondering, like, should we add this? My markdown lint is saying that I have too many single like H1s, which I don't think is true. It's a bug. Yeah, I think these are lights. And just in case, maybe there is not just in case, maybe I will just do this. So it's looking for the docs root path, I will be able to say source lib transcripts here. I guess I'm not going to be creating like a schema for what these things are. How will it understand the titles? Not sure. Oh well, let's take it one step at a time. We are gonna pretend that this doesn't matter too much. The heading, maybe it's gonna find it out. Like ideally, I want it to know the heading from this. I will add it just in case. I will add headings to all the documents. And I am gonna undo this rule, markdown linked rule, because it looks like it's not working properly. As always, this is a live coding and sale, so if you're working on something, please let me know in the chat what you're working on this week. So we have this migration. It's creating this page. Who knows what it does? A lot of the time with these LLMs and AI and ML and all of that, they are black boxes and we don't poke too much. But I'd imagine that with magic, it's going to take this from the name of the file. I'm hoping it will take this by finding the first H1 heading. So it will be finding this. And I'm also hoping that it's not going to flip out from this front matter. I think front matter can be ignored in Markdown. If it has support for MDX like React, then surely it can have support for this. Alright, so this is magic to do similarity search. Sure, I'll believe that. So you give it an embedding vector, match threshold, match count. Like I can only imagine I'm not going to be doing this directly. And then it's going to return which page you found, the ID, the slug, the heading, the content. Great. So if I could actually get into the GitHub Action, I would love to store like all the front matter in a BSON column. So then when I get the answer and the chatbot tells me this document is matching, I could actually more easily link to the YouTube video or the thumbnail, that sort of thing. Get page parents. That's interesting because are they nesting things inside and out? Does it matter that I've nested the documents here further, like one level deep? I hope not. All right, and here we're adding some privileges to say that if Supabase is connected with a service role, then it can do some stuff. And Postgres itself can do some stuff. So migration, not too crazy. Will it just work? We didn't actually change anything from the example here. We're just calling it docs and not transcripts. So I think it's going to be fine. Our Supabase project should be linked already. So if we banx Supabase to be push. Oh, need the password. Sure. Hopefully I have it on hand. And it looks like I do. Should be this. I think I will leak it. All right. So this did something. Hooray, first milestone done. We've done something to our schema. And I'd imagine we have a new schema here. We have a docs schema, great. And we have a page, which is empty, and we have a page section. I don't really know why like a page is different to a page section. I'm not sure. Like, does it break each paragraph out? It may have to do with how things get searched, but like I'm making a mental note on moving on digging in deeper into this. So we've talked about generative Q&A with headless vector search. Did we do the database prep for our documents? I think so. It's saying post the schema. All right, and now we need to add the OpenAI key. So I will do this in another window in an effort to not leak my OpenAI key. If you have followed the ChatGPT with SvelteKit video, you know how to do this. You know how to go to the OpenAI dashboard. And right before this stream, I created this secret key for us to use, which I cannot copy from here, can never see it again. But I have also put it in our SvelteKit project. So I should be able to find it here. And I will actually show like this part. This is going to be the first time that I'm going to be using the secret management functionality of OpenAI. So let's see if this just works. So in my .env, as is common with SvelteKit apps, I have added an OpenAI key, which I will go to the terminal and paste it. And if you can see this, then it would have been licked. And then I will just like change it. It says Supabase secrets set. So this has worked somehow, some way. I will need to run this again. Yeah, we should be fine. We don't want this window. We want to see the next step. Then we need to deploy some Supabase functions. Do I have this as a first step? Yes. So this project, the demo project they tell you to download, has some Supabase Edge functions. Quite a few. Our project has none. So we need to do something about that. Yeah, here it is, leaked. It said clear, but it didn't clear it enough, so we'll have to do this again. Oh well. Let's run the dev server. In the meantime, it's running. Let's make this full screen. Put this there. So before I recycle the key, this is what we have. You can actually go through this flow here in local development and subscribe through Stripe. That's the core of our episodes. And you can log in, log out. It's quite a lot of things, cool things we have created here. And today we are going to be trying to make the generative QA happen. Cool, but I will need to do this in another window. Thank you for your patience, because here I do need to trust this. Hopefully I can run it again. Let's create a create another one of these and immediately delete it because it gets shown. Get it over here, create. Create it, copy it. Go to our .env because we cannot see it again. Paste it there. Close this window. Go to the terminal. Run the same command we did before. It claims to have done this. But I think it's because the window here is like too small that when I moved it into the other window, it just disappeared. Oh well. But we should be good to go now. We should be good to go now. And our next step is going to be the functions. So they've created an import map here. I guess these are all the libraries that the Supabase functions are going to be using. So let's just copy this in the Supabase function folder. So Supabase functions import map JSON. With an underscore, I understand. So that should be correct. Some dependence here. What else do we have? We have a utils directory. It has a .env. It's using Dino. Interesting. I wonder if it has like band support. So our Supabase functions by default run on Dino. That's cool. So was it utils.env? .ts. Just underscore utils and env.ts. My TypeScript doesn't like this, but I'm sure that if I do something in the tsconfig to say actually this folder is running on Dino, then it should be fine. We don't have a tsconfig here, so I don't know the way to get rid of that problem, but it should be fine. And we have an errors. Copy raw file. Interesting. Why are they not doing this like known? And then you get rid of the tsconfig problem. Yeah, ts ignore or Dino lint ignore. Not sure. So is that errors.ts? Yeah, that's sorted. I guess they are. I used to love doing this, like creating my own instances of errors, things that classes that extend error, and I could throw them out, and then they do like they have their own custom methods or something. You can do this for errors with error codes, for example. But we also need a vector search index.ts, which seems like is the meat of the function. So vector search. This is my first time as well using Supabase functions, but I imagine they work as other serverless functions do, where the directory you put them in must be the function name, and then they should be exporting an index file, which should have a default export, or maybe a named export, I guess. This one exports a serve. That may be something. And that's the thing that actually gets deployed. So this one is from Dino, I imagine, which I don't know how to resolve. Are all of these from Dino? I don't know. But why is this not involved? Right, so these are explicitly doing the TS thing. I don't know why. But I am sure that this is only a problem because I don't have like a separate TS config for this. And it doesn't have a TS config because maybe it's not really TS, it's just running on Dino. A mental note, something to debug later yet again. I've also moved my camera around, let me know if that looks better. And I am not using my DSLR for this. I am using the iPhone camera with continuity mode, so that's also exciting. Anyway, we have this file which will probably work on Dino, and what it's doing, it's getting the OpenAI key that we've hopefully uploaded with our Banex secrets, Supabase secrets command. Supabase URL, I imagine it has it because it's a Supabase function. This one similarly, then it creates a Supabase client and it has like super privileges and which can do quite a lot of stuff. It targets the doc schema, which we created with the migration before, and then it configures OpenAI, I guess, here using the OpenAI secret key. All right, it makes some stuff for course headers. Sure, because it's serving something and saying allow from anything and allow the special headers. Guess these are not special. This is kind of something that they're doing, not necessarily a specific thing. I don't know about the X client info. This seems like non-standard. Let me know if you've seen it before. Anyway, if it's an options, then it's just return OK, or else it sanitizes the query. Interesting. Right, so I imagine this is the interesting. So this is the custom prompt that is given to OpenAI as context. So we should customize this because you're not a super enthusiastic Supabase representative. In our case, like maybe you're me or you are a Johnny J. McGrippis Johnify representative. Great. Right, and it says answer as markdown. But maybe we could tell OpenAI to answer with like answer as JSON with a thumbnail link or like the YouTube ID link, blah blah blah. All right, interesting. The model is TextAvinci 003, which is also very interesting. Why are they not using ChatGPT? I think we'll just change that. And then they're doing the fetch request, like we've done this in the other video. All right, this doesn't look as intimidating as I thought. Like I kind of get at least half of this. So if we go to the Hello There project, which is this one, if I remember correctly, we should have an OpenAI client somewhere. here. And you can see that we start with a system prompt saying you're Johnny, a principal software engineer and educational YouTuber, blah, blah, blah. So that's similar to what they're doing here, where they're adding this prompt. But they're giving it... Why are they passing it as prompt? Why are they doing completions? I guess they're using the completions API and not the GPT-4 like stream API. Interesting. Interesting. Should I deploy this and see if we can get this to work and then try to adapt based on what we've done in the other project? I guess this is also hitting. Yeah, so this is hitting the old completions API, which is also more expensive. And I see. So this tokenizer, I guess, is trying to guess how many tokens we're gonna spend, like how much money this is gonna cost, based on the answer. Where it's trying to figure out as much context as possible and then add it into this prompt. And they're using the old the old regular completion using the text v3. But if we can make this work, I guess we can then make it better by making it use the ChatGPT-4 style of chat completion, where you have specific messages and you can say like system, and here's the context, and then here's like more context, and then this is actually the user question. So we will be changing this just a little bit. We will adapt this a little bit. Hey Joel in the chat, how are you doing? Yeah, we're gonna zip this and then try to adapt it. The personal influence and education YouTuber. Sony is known, blah blah blah. Now this is a big prompt. But we don't want to say respond as Johnny. Given the following sections, of transcripts from Johnny's videos, as requested using only that information. All right, so I'm changing the one-line context to better reflect what we're doing here, but you can hopefully see how you can adapt this to your taste. If you have your own documentation site, that should also be fine. You can still keep talking about dogs, but make sure to change, like, don't say that the chatbot is supposed to be a Supabase representative, because in your case it's not going to be, and that you should say based on the docs for your app, if your app is like personal or whatever. Answer based on the documentation of this app. Answer based on the documentation on the React docs or the Dylan page, the person I'm patroning that I highlighted before. So sure, that should do something. Then we give the context questions, then we do this, then we answer as markdown, and this we made since in future to answer as JSON. All right, then it hits this obsolete API. It's gonna cost more money. This raises the stake. Like every time we try something, it costs me money, which is the way Mr. Beast became famous. So I'm having high hopes for today. And then it's gonna stream the response. Cool, blah, blah, blah. All right, so I kind of get this, which is good. I'm in a better position than before starting this video, this stream. And that's all the things we need for the Supabase functions. So even if my project is flipping out about what we're doing there because they're using Dino of all things, we should be good to go. And the next step should be to deploy this function, see how it works. So let's just do this. So Vanex, Supabase functions deploy, no verified ZWT. This should attempt to deploy our Supabase functions directory. So if we didn't mess that up, right, it is saying it's bundling this vector search. It did, it's deploying it. Amazing. So it opened in a different window, but this is it. We now have this vector search method. I wonder why they told us to disable this. I wonder if that makes it insecure or something. But hey, it doesn't really matter. I think we can move on to the next step. Github Action. Excited. So we need to expose the schema. So in Zonify, where do we go again? API settings, exposed schemas. Exposed schemas at the docs. Great. Does it autosave? I imagine that the answer is yes. Kinda like this. Then you cannot, there is no undo button. You have to remember what you did if you didn't want the autosave to apply. Interesting. But you can see that this is not like a, oops, you cannot see what I'm talking about actually. So here you can see they have this little save button that I cannot actually click because it autosaved. Anyway, that is by the by. We have done yet another thing from the docs, and then we need this vector embeddings action. Which it says it only runs when the main branch needs this, which is fair enough. I guess I wonder yeah, it needs the OpenAI key. So it needs the OpenAI key as well as the Supabase service role key. But I'm guessing that this means that this is hitting OpenAI. So again, this will cost money every time it runs. And if you aren't sure, like you wouldn't do this on a branch, because on every branch this will be costing money. And maybe you're not sure on whether the documentation that you updated is correct. So only do it with the main branch. Sure. So they're claiming to add a new workflow action, name it generate embeddings. I am going to call it YAML with an A for consistency. And I don't know why they're doing underscore. The name is even generated embeddings. So, our root path for the docs is gonna be source lib transcripts. Cut this. Copy relative path. Hopefully that's correct. So you can only do it once. So you can only add like a single docs path. Fair enough. I guess there's still time to call this docs if we want. Or maybe docs transcripts. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Let's nest things even more. Let's say it's docs transcripts. The fact that they say root path here makes me hopeful. Find the latest version in Marketplace. Sure. 005. Found it. This is like a little treasure hunting thing. Figure out how to do it. Right. So 005 seems to be the correct one. Now we need to add these secrets. Apparently I have added this already, but not the OpenAI key. So guess what? It's time for some hidden action again. In our project, I guess I'll keep this open for now. In Zonify, we can go to settings, we can go to secrets, somewhere, yeah. For our actions, and I have wisely added the service role key, and now I guess we need to add the Supabase API key, the OpenAI API key. Supabase wants us to add that, so I need to find it. I am gonna call it OpenAI key. And in our .env, I still have it. I guess I could have like two keys, one for the action and one for this. All right, in theory it's done. And at some point this will recheck what has happened and it will know that it's available, but I know it's available now. So do we just commit everything and push? Why not? What did I do here? add Supabase migrations, functions, and GitHub Action for generative me. All right, so this is the tricky bit where if we've made a mistake on this GitHub Action, we'll only know after we've merged master, because it will only run when it is in the main branch. Oh, and we already have a problem. Like I haven't added this. Shouldn't not be getting this from a variable? I think so. So double checking for the win. I am gonna double check my .env because I do think that there is a link to this. So yeah, I think this is gonna work. If we go to the GitHub Action again, this should be vars public Supabase URL. That's what they want. Great. I've used this before. I used this on my Playwright tests. So we can amend the commit. Double check again. It is saying let's run this function. Why do they underscore this? Will this be the thing to break it? Nah, you can see that in here it's fine. No quotes as well. Only do it on the main branch. We know how this works. We don't need a comment. Run on latest Ubuntu, use the checkout action to check out the repo. Yeah, we found the latest version database. Cool. In the marketplace even. Pro tip, use an environment variable, which you must add into your GitHub, of course. And then, no secrets. This is the path to the docs. Looks great to me. So let's add it again. And push this time. And hopefully this will just work. This PR will be deployed. All our Playwright tests and stuff will pass. And we'll live happily ever after. You'll see that the action that we really care about is not running. But it probably will. And after, I think it's the time to go into our UI and have our UI ask the function that we created to generate a completion. So probably the most exciting bit, to be honest. It says this is the last step. So yeah, this is a decent example. I think they have it here. This is what we're going to be doing with Svelte later on. I guess we can wrap the endpoint here. This isn't going to be our project draft, is it? Not sure. We'll get to that in a moment. Just need the Playwright test to run and complete. It's the wheel. which it did. Awesome. Let's double check that we didn't add any weird console logs, console errors in our method when things actually error. Sure, I guess you can see here this error that we created. Anyway, let's rebase and merits. And now is the time to cross our fingers and see, will our GitHub Action work? So now that we went to main, the generative embeddings method is gonna run. So let's see it work. Nice. So it did find our markdown file, and it's adding, is it like every paragraph? Probably not, because this is more than 14 paragraphs. Is it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? It could be for its heading, so that's interesting. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, close. So I'm not actually sure. There is a chance that the front matter as well is kind of throwing it off. But complete. Woo. Yeah, so it discovered these pages. Great. We can look at our schema now, but I suspect like it creates a page for every markdown file. It guesses the slug from the name of the file. Does it find the heading? I'm not really sure. And I'm not that sure how it breaks down the page into sections. I'm not sure if it's in the migration we added. Match page section. Is this it? I'm not sure. So yeah, something to read into in the future, my third note today. I think this is a function that makes a page have like section, but maybe it's the search function, I'm not sure. I don't know how pages make it into sections. Could be something that the vector functionality makes it happen and not the code that we directly added. Oh well, in any case, this should mean that we can hit our GitHub, our Supabase function and get a result. I suspect this is going to be it. But first, let's have a look into our database. You can see that we have the path. Great. No meta information. It says the path is this. Checksum. I guess this is used to know that whether you've edited the file or not. If the file has been edited, the checksum is going to be different. So the GitHub Action will know whether to feed this to OpenAI again or not. Only feed it when they've changed. Which sounds good to me. Sounds reasonable. And yeah, maybe that's how it understands the last refresh. And the page sections. And so the slug, what is the slug? Who knows? So apparently it did get a bit crazy with the front matter. Why does it think that these are useful embeddings? Not sure. So the slugs are not related to the markdown files. But if we do get something from the page section, then we'll know which page it belongs to. And since we have the path here, we would be able to load that path, get the front matter from that path and say, this is the YouTube ID for this, here's the anchor link. So I'm having hope that this may work. So let's do the actual work. Dedicated Q&A page for proof of concept. Let's go to our header and add a new page. Let's call it ask. Chat? Not sure. What would generate most clicks? That's my question. When did we crash the server? All right, so we have this. We need to create this route. Let's add a last page to Svelte. We're there. And let's add a server method taking inspiration from maybe our demos page. Meta stuff we don't really care about. So I recently found out that there is a shortcut for apostrophes, and I've been going to Wikipedia to get them all this time. Let's see. Ask a chatbot trained on Johnny's videos. Great at programming questions, and especially Svelte, SvelteKit, React, and Next.js. And we'll use this copy for the description kind of here. So what do we have here? So do we make it similar to this? No. Yeah, let's make it similar to the profile page. So the profile page looks kind of like this. button there. And we're gonna use this description, as I said, here. Yeah, this looks kind of fun, maybe. And the command palette is a cool feature, but you cannot use it on your phone, which may be like the best time to use something like this, when you don't have the time to like search too much and open too many tabs. All right, so we want an input, and I guess we have input fields in the login page. They're all like hardcore inputs, nothing like simple. We can make this a form. And this input. Can add the user's name somewhere. So types nothing. It's text. Is that a valid type? Maybe. Name is question. Message. Autocomplete required, yes. Maybe not bind this. Maybe we want this full. And I guess we'll want like a nice button for them to click, but it should also work if they click and if they press enter. Should it? Just work. So let's look at a nice button we have. Let's copy our form state logic in a script. Disappointed that the autocomplete there. We messed it up. Bring in this button. Cool. All right, So now I type the question, and then what happens? Nothing. What we want to happen is this. On submit, we want this to happen. And again, we can be hitting our backend and then streaming back a response, but we won't start with this, surely not. So let's just copy all of this. Why not? And put it in our script block. And let's say, what's the answer? Okay. Let the answer be this. But will you be keeping the answers? Like, I'm thinking about this 2 months. So this is like a string array. And then current answer index is going to be answers length plus, no, just if it's length now it's 0, yeah, it will be the 0 one. So it's going to be this. Replying, let's say form state equals replying. So answers this, it's going to be this. We don't need the event prevent default because we're going to pass it here on submit. Can say prevent default here and SvelteKit land. And gonna make it replying. If there is an error, then form state is gonna be this always gonna be an error. Then if there's a message, right, so first it's going to be submitting, then the form state is going to be replying. And we're gonna keep adding to this. And why do they have this again? Like this is true, and then they do all of these things, and then they make it true again? That does nothing. Come on. Come on. I guess what they're missing here may be that here is loading value. We actually want form state to be done, and we don't want this. So that looks kind of correct, but prettier is not quite prettifying it, so there must be something we've done wrong. And where could it be? Is it all this crazy stuff we've added? No. Is it in the UI? Yeah. So what did we forget? Something in the form. Oh, I forgot to pass the on submit here. Whoops. Alright, so everything looks kinda good. This is something they made up. Is this part of the OpenAI docs, maybe? Probably. So should they bring in OpenAI? JavaScript client. Let's do it. Will it work with bun? Classic question. Guess I should have my camera be even further to the left. But maybe it makes me look cool when I'm looking at the screen and not even as that. Right, so did this kind of become available now? No? So even here, like I guess it makes sense that they are demoing with the new chat completion, not the completion that our example has. Let's see if that's a real thing. Guess the answer is no. Maybe they typed it themselves. I'm not going to debug this too long. I am going to trust that like in the other project I have typed the types myself, so I guess we can actually just remove OpenAI. We won't be using it directly. An interesting thing is what's the project URL gonna be, and is this actually what they want? Because I don't think so. I think they mean the functions URL here. So if I go to my project and go to functions, which will be somewhere here, Edge Functions, have this one. I think they mean this URL, right? Surely. And let's hard code it in and see what happens. Yeah, because it has like the functions v1 thing. Ah. No, this is always my project URL. Sure. But then it becomes like vector search to hit this named function. Sure. But how does this get added? Surely it would need to add this. Right, in any case, this should be the vector function URL should be public Supabase URL. It's going to be brought in from env static public. Great. So it's going to be this. And I think it includes the slash. I think. I guess we'll find out soon enough. And then the query is going to be this. I guess this will always be the same. But in the on submit, you can see that the query URL is used here. Return event source here. Right, we don't have an input draft. We can have a question. So let the question be a string. Maybe we don't need to type it. And we can bind the value of our input to question. Maybe we don't need that. Yeah, no need to bind stuff when you don't need it. We can say that the query equals new form data event current target, because that's going to be the form of the submit event. Get this. URL search params. Why is it there? Not. Ah, it's doing this to make it safe to escape characters and stuff. Sure. So question is going to be this. Do I have a non-submit anywhere? I guess not. The problem is that this is like an HTML form event, which we can type it a bit better. It's a submit event on an HTML element. HTML form element even. Don't type this, it will know what it is. So now it's happy. This will always have a current target, I imagine. No question. Return. It's like a min length. Like at least 5 characters. At least 4 characters. Cool. Can you give a URL here? Yes. So we can say that actually the query URL is going to be a new URL to our vector function URL. And the query URL search params query person. And then we can create the event source to that query URL and add an event listener and all that. And that's it. And I imagine the moment we do this, we're good to go. Event target. Okay, let's just see this. Sure. So with all of this, amazingly, I'm imagining that if we ask something, we're gonna get a response. Fingers crossed. Let's get a sip of coffee for luck. Oh no, it keeps trying. Let's stop. It looks kind of correct. Name not resolved. Is it just keep trying to do this? Yeah, so the problem is that this needs an extra SNAS here. How do I use Google Fonts? Oh man, I think this is working, but I forgot to input the answer. No! Oh no! All that money for nothing. Answers. So for each and it is saying it's going to respond with HTML, so we will need to bring something to render HTML. More nicely. Okay, so let's style this. Disable this. Or actually, yeah, if we're not submitting or replying, then you can use this, sure. And we can put this here. And like a little bubble. All right, so now let's see this work. How do I use Google Fonts? This is the moment, chat. Let's do it. We got a response to that back. So it got to the point where it felt like it couldn't reply with a lot of context. So it went like this. Is there something specific in my Google Fonts video? So if we check the transcript here. Oh, interesting. So I say this as a when. Can I use all right, now we're talking. Now that's a good example here. So I'm asking, can I use ChatGPT with SvelteKit? And it says, yes, you can use ChatGPT 4 with SvelteKit. In the video, ChatGPT 4 with SvelteKit, and it has a YouTube link even. Johnny shows how to build an next-gen Hello World app using ChatGPT 4 and SvelteKit. The app will get the user's name from the URL and use ChatGPT to greet the user on behalf of a principal software engineer. You can find the code for the app on GitHub. So if we were in there in Markdown here, that'd be extra awesome. Because these would be links that you can click to and you can go there. So that's a big win. This is the point, like 135, 134 of the video. This is the point to timestamp and clip, because that was a huge win. That was a huge win. Let's mess with the UI, which we know we love. Surface 3? Is there a Surface 3? No. Do I not have like a primary color here? Yeah, I do. So what's the problem? No background color set for some reason. Sometimes the element flips out with SvelteKit. Interesting. Okay, what am I doing here? I'm trying to make the ChatGPT responses be a bit more visible and to keep a record of our questions. And similarly, for this question that we have, we're gonna print it out. Which I think is cool. Does it become like super wide? Not too bad. I guess all of these can be part of the same section. That looks kind of nice. It feels like we won't need multiple p tags for the answers. I'm not particularly sure. How does it look like this? Sorry, how does it look with these being empty arrays is what I meant to do. Let's ask the Tony bot, how do I add a text gradient in my hero section? Nice. It's a big response. But what I want to do is if form state is submitting, it's replying, add like these 3 dots so it will look a bit better. And also, if we're in this state, we can pop this in. Add this. Push it to our array. All right. Maybe on the submitting is what we want. You can have like a nice mess in there. You can get better at Svelte by watching Johnny's video on test-driven development with SvelteKit and vtest. Here's the link. Quite funny. Cool. Been having too much fun with this. So let's not forget. I'll do it later. We must not commit anything. We need to go to a different branch and rebase to master. But what else did I want to do? I wanted to render markdown. So maybe markdown-it, bring that in. Let's see if that's gonna work. Let's see if that's gonna work. Does the community have types for this? I assume yes, because it's such a popular tool. Up here now. Not yet. Okay, it's happy now. And render inline. What's just render? doing it on the server would be a bit better, because then we can trust the sanitization process a bit more. But hey. So this should be markdown. And then how do we render markdown again? In Svelte, I think there is Svelte HTML. Right. Just like this. Can I do like two things here, bro, or not? So yeah, I won't do the... What will I do? If we are submitting, I'm gonna do the 3 dots. I have a spinner somewhere. Login page. Let's use that one, it's gonna be nicer. Bring in the spinner and use the spinner. Spinner. Use it here. All right. How do I create text gradients? Not quite. So let's put this outside of this div. Let's do this in an else. But yeah, kinda obviously, I guess we need to wait for the whole answer before rendering it. So we can keep this as text and text. Can keep this as text and text, I'm saying. maybe render the markdown in the end. It's gonna look too bad. Yeah, so it adds multiple P's, it does like the thing with the code blocks. I think that's probably better. Because I can style it with like highlight yes or something like that eventually. Sure. Ugh, it's only fails. Hello. I guess there is a self-aligned center, self-centered, like me. Got him. All right, so this is the class that we want. Just need to add it here. I think we're good to go. What else do we need? I think that's going to be it. Let's have a look at the agenda. We made it a dedicated Q&A page. We asked our front end. We haven't done this, and I don't think we'll do this now, because I think what may be more interesting is to try to update our function and try to use ChatGPT-4, because that's better and cheaper. So let's have a look. How would that work? How would that work? Have our vector search here. Or should I just look into my own example here? So we're hitting this URL. Chat completions, not completions. Headers should be the same. Method is the same, it's post. But then the body has a model. ChatGPT-4. GPT-4. It doesn't take prompt, it takes messages. Text messages, and I think temperature and stream, and this to make it less expensive, I think that stays the same. So the prompt should actually be messages. Quote block, that's kind of crazy. And I guess this is going to be an array. And the first one is going to have a role of system and content. It's going to be this. The context is this. Remains the same. So that's interesting. Before starting the stream, I was thinking that maybe the GitHub Action would be training a version of ChatGPT-4, training our own LLM sprung out of ChatGPT-4 by saying it, all right, train on this data, and then any question would work. So it's interesting to see how it still uses the system role concept from my other videos. Right, so content sections are going to be this. And the question is not going to be here. Cool. And the second message is going to have role user, and the content is going to be the sanitized query. All right. So I think that makes it probably work a bit better than us, a bit better for our use case. So this needs a bit of updating, but we'll need to run this again. So I guess because we're doing that no verifying EWT, anyone can run this this query. Oh, but we can like just expose it to our backend again in the future. And make it work with JWT or something like that. Okay, so I would think that this is updated. It looked like it deployed fine. How do I use use space resistance SvelteKit? The name of the video is view transition, so let's see if it gets it. It replied with something. I guess the response must be like something else. It's a different endpoint, so it must be replying to a different key. Maybe it's not text, maybe it's content. Whoops. We almost got it. So it has a choices. Let me see it. I guess maybe in our other project we'll be able to see it. So the response is this, and it's like choices 0 message content, which I think in our code, our front end, what is it actually doing? I think it's going message text. Yep. Which is another reason that we may want to wrap this in our backend, because now I can do a function deployment and break the front end, even though the front end hasn't changed, which is bad. But if you're talking to your own backend, then you can always try to do something. So if I knew that I was going to update the Supabase function, then I could have my backend check for content and text, and then do the release, then do the function deployment, and then do another release where I just do content. Anyway, let's see. Is it not in content? Where is it? Oh, it's Delta, of course. Kinda remember this. When you're streaming it, it's a Delta. When you're not streaming, it's not. And the Delta has a content. Should have opened this. All right, big one. Woo! It's working. It's replying. How do I do animated page transitions with SvelteKit? To do animated page transitions with SvelteKit, you can use the View Transitions API. Here's a step-by-step guide based on Johnny's video. Open your layout Svelte, blah, 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 blah. Oof, it keeps going. Always keep in mind the performance costs and your users' willingness to do stuff. And then we can see how it renders it with Markdown, which I'm not sure if it's like good or not. Maybe it is. So here, scroll. Should make it a bit better. And should I clear the input? We're talking about backend, then that have been fine. We won't do it like that. We will keep it in the future. So I think that's actually huge. What we just did. Oh. Doesn't provide a step-by-step guide. That's not true. Oh, incorrect. In that video, we are indeed building an app that uses ChatGPT. We are building a SvelteKit app that is using ChatGPT. Oh well. And you may check out the source code. Why is it undefined here? Because it doesn't have content. Sure, so we fixed that bug as well. And I guess we're kinda good to go. Let me know if in the next video you'd like to see me try to make this hit the backend, our own backend, which is more the SvelteKit way to do things, or if you'd like to see me build this into the command palette like Supabase is doing here, and have that interface pop up when you are anywhere in the site and not just when you are in the ask page, the dedicated ask page. Or if you'd like to see something else entirely, would be happy to see anything that makes people interested in doing more tech and more with AI and more with SvelteKit and more with Supabase. So let me know what you want to see and I'll get on it. I always want to show things that people find useful. That's why every app that I build has a realistic use case, so it's an actual real app that I'm building for people or for myself in this case. I don't want to do too many, like this is just demo projects. I try to do things that if you learn how to do them, then you can apply them on real projects or when you are working for somebody else. All right, this was a bit of a marathon stream and we got somewhere in the end. No command palette, but I do like this. I will be deploying this soon, so you can actually play around in the deployed app. So we have this here. Maybe I'll do it while waiting for the chat in case there are any comments. Why is the band config different? Because we brought markdown-it. Sure. What else do we want? let's review what we did. We brought in markdown-it, markdown-it, which still doesn't have its own TypeScript types declared. So we brought the community ones from the add_types project. This updated the bun file. We've added a link. I need to run the server again. We've added a link to our header. Now you can go to the ask page. Seems like it works. Since we added an ask page, let's on the fly add something to our Playwright smoke test. This page should have a title. Do I like ask Johnny put more? Now we have it as a call to action. So let's see here. Should it just have ask somewhere? And the heading should be ask and learn. And if you do make it here, it means that the link works. Let's run the Playwright test. They pass. All good. So we added this link and we tested it. We've added a meta description, some meta tags for that page. We've updated the Supabase function to make it use ChatGPT-4, which is better and cheaper. I guess in the future, like, you can have like many messages that the user has provided, because now it loses the context. It doesn't know what it provided before. It's just the one, and then it's fresh slate. You would be able to add all the answers of the user here. We can still do it, but maybe that's too expensive. We need to adapt this a little bit if we make it happen like that. And I guess this just proxies through the response from OpenAI stream. Sure. And this is the biggest page. Only in the end we're using markdown-it to turn our response into markdown. Format it nicely. But the biggest thing is that we are opening up a new event source. We're streaming from some data from the Supabase function, Edge function that we've deployed. We're adding an event listener. So every time there is more data in that stream, we keep appending to the answer. And that's mostly UI stuff that we've created. So it will have a nice intro here, and then you can type your question, and then you get the response back. But it also keeps your own questions. I think it's quite neat. Let's run the server again, like too many errors. Cool. So let's push that. I imagine that the GitHub Action will run, but will not regenerate, will not rerun stuff for the content that we already have here, because we didn't touch it. The checksum should be the same. And yeah, in the future, I should be able to do some extra work in order to extract this information, really, the front matter information, make better use of that. Maybe to have the chatbot respond with, this is a related video, go see it there. Like, it is having a bit of trouble to understand what is a video or not. It doesn't know when things were published, like that sort of thing, but we'll figure it out. So yeah, possible ways to move forward, trying to work with font banner more by improving both the vector action and the way we're implementing in the page. Another one, make it work with the command palette that many sites have, as well as the Supabase page, or make the whole functionality work by hitting our own backend. So wrapping the execution of the Edge function at Supabase in our own backend. Our SvelteKit app will be hitting itself on the backend, and the backend, invisible to the user behind the scenes, will be hitting our Supabase action, which may make it more secure, may make it so that there's less funny business possible, that sort of thing. But yeah, I think the docs here can get you there. There are a few repos to open, but you can follow the instructions, open the files that we did today, and you can kind of get what's happening. If I manage to get it, then you can get it. I believe in you. There are a few things that aren't accurate, mainly this one. This isn't the project URL. This is the project URL. And then this is the functions endpoint, and then you should have the function name. So that's a bit wrong. I'll see if I can raise an issue there. This does nothing. You know, this can be slightly improved, but I think we can get the idea. And that's about it. I'll be looking into the logic of our Edge function here, because there may be a better way to do this, an even better way to do this, but this gets me somewhere. Let me know if you actually end up using this functionality, if you find it helpful, if you would like to have something like that when you have your own membership platform, if you'd like to see this in Patreon or YouTube even. The thing with YouTube, it has a great search, but of course it will reply with anything on YouTube, which has its pros and cons. Like maybe you want to see me explain SvelteKit and not necessarily Firesep, because Firesep is amazing, but you're in the mood for droning. Who knows? If that's the case, then having your own dedicated platform from these things would be beneficial. But yeah, test pass. Let's actually test this. Because our test doesn't say anything here. What else do I have? How do I do animated page transitions? We could be clearing this input field in the end, but that's fine. Cool. I guess this is going to be a long response. This was a cool tip on the view transitions API, which I hadn't seen before. So you can see the paragraphs getting in when the markdown styling gets in there. I should be adding more styles to make all of this more readable for code blocks and stuff, but I think it looks quite nice. So it looks in the deploy preview, it will work in real life. So you can go to jonify.com and play with this. I imagine that this will not scan the pages, or maybe it will scan them, but not update the embeddings. Again, I've only added 5 transcripts, so there is some work remaining for me to add like 50 video transcripts, and then the chatbot will be more powerful. So you can see it was faster, so surely it didn't do stuff. Score 5 pages, checking which pages are new or have changed. None. Good, good. So that's why it was very fast. Just out of curiosity, 21 seconds now that it had nothing to do. And previously it was 1 minute 22 seconds, so it does take quite a while. Interestingly enough. All right, I think this is gonna be it for today. We do want to turn the markdown transcripts into pages in SvelteKit, in our SvelteKit app as well. That's something for the future. So between working on the JonyBot, the ask page, if you want to see it in the command palette, if you want me to do more stuff server side of what we did, or if you want to see using Markdown with SvelteKit, there are many suggestions that I have myself, but I want to know what you think. It could be something else entirely. Once again, thanks to Supabase for all of this. This is episode number 8 in this Patreon-like service project series. And for the other 7, I was using Supabase all along, highlighting it quite often. But today, special day once again, part of the Content Storm, where Supabase every so often celebrates huge releases with big new features by having creators all publish their content or live stream new content regarding to Supabase. I'm one of those this time again, and the spin this time is very AI focused and LLM focused and that sort of thing. So I was inspired to do something like this, and if I tweak it enough, I think it will be a very cool differentiator for my site. It won't be just another Blockfolio page, which I guess is what my regular, like my other site is. It's mostly like regular Blockfolio, but you can adapt something like this into your Blockfolio and feed it your blog posts. It's not just for documentations. Anyway, haven't taken any breaks, so I am rambling quite a lot. We will call it for today. It's been a pleasure to code with you today. I hope you've been having amazing weeks, and I'll catch you on Friday for more. Comment on what you'd like to see. Have a lovely, lovely week.